Okay, Clive, thanks. So, hi, friends. Sorry for this. Well, we're not that late, but we're a bit late because there were some tech issues on this end. Sorry about this blurring end, but I'm not on my usual setting, so I'd rather have it blurred. Um, so yeah, welcome. Good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon to all of you coming in. There's a lot of people coming in, a lot of familiar names. If there is anyone new here, well, just a warm welcome to you, and a warm welcome to those who will be watching the replay. So, this week, another day, another week, another Dharma. Very special day on my end because it's Portugal's National Day today. So, bank holiday. And well, it's a long story too. Comes from the 15th, 16th century. So yeah. Anyway, just well, I think Christopher is past the long introductions. Most of you here know Christopher is the senior most Dharma teacher in the West. And he's been offering retreats and has led Zoom meetings in 5 time zones and supports social global change. He's a poet, a photographer, a blogger, and a social critic. Is on the crest of the wave at this time of this stage of his life, which is quite remarkable. He's the author of 22 books, including Light on Enlightenment, Spiritual Roots of Mindfulness, and The Political Buddha. He is also the founder of the Mindfulness Teacher Training Course. More than 1,000 of Christopher's talks, inquiry sessions, and guided meditations are freely available online. He lives in Totnes, Devon, England. And you can have I will let you have his webpage site, also his blog post, which I encourage you to follow because Christopher is, as I said, on the crest of the wave. So he's got Dharma all over the place. So feel free to follow him and take on his long life teachings and wisdom. For this week, and actually this month, we've decided at Sangha Life to take another monthly theme. So this will be on letting go, and Christopher will guide us on that. Just to let you know, if you're new here, and to remind you, if you're not new in the platform, that we have time for a short talk, longer silent practice or guided practice, and then there's time for Q&A. So on the bottom of the screen, you have this little hand. You can click on it when the Q&A comes in and raise your digital hand if you want to come on screen. Otherwise, you can ask your questions in the chat box. If you do that, please type question capital letters so that Christopher can follow that in a more timely way. Okay, last thing I'm going to talk about because time is running is dana, of course, the Buddhist word for, express generosity. I'll speak about the generosity that we apply to here on Sangha Life, but of course, don't take dana as only that kind of generosity, because dana is a wider, really expansive word for generosity. In our case, it is spoken about on every session because we have these sessions freely offered. All the work on Sangha Life, the presence of the teacher, wisdom, these teachings, everything is freely offered. And it's the kind of reciprocity that we ask for because we have freely offered work, but not free of cost. So we really need your support to keep on going, supporting this Sangha. And this is such a beautiful thing that has been growing all over the years that I really like to emphasize this. Anyway, if you feel like donating and donating for Sangha Live and for Christopher, of course, throughout this week, I'll let you have the donation link. Feel free to do that. Doesn't matter if it's a large amount, a small amount. What matters is it's come from the heart and you feel it as a way of your engagement. But if you can't do that, well, all for the best, because the fact that you're here, the fact that you practice, that you're with us, is also a part of your generosity. So thank you so much for all the participation you can bring into this Sangha and to this platform and to this week. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you all. I'll just fade myself and let you soak in with the practice. Have a nice day, a nice session, and a nice week.
Yes, thank you. So, thank you very much to Sangha Live, and thank you to George as well. The technical issue that he referred to has a name. It's called Titmuss. So I needed some navigation and from Jorg to find my way to you. I'm happy to be here. Apologies for being a couple of minutes or so late. We have a theme together, letting go, vitally important theme, necessary to explore and to understand, to recognize its benefits and its limits, there. With this period of time with you, I'd like to speak a little bit about the theme of letting go. That would be 10 to 15 minutes. This will be followed by a 30-minute guided meditation. And then from there, if you have any responses, please feel free to ask either in the chat or the written. So firstly, with letting go. There is an important understanding to recognize and acknowledge right from the very beginning. This important understanding is that it is an outcome of exploration. It's an outcome of inquiry, of reflection, of meditation. It's a fruit of it. We sometimes make letting go as the immediate response to a problematic situation. It very, very rarely works. So we might have a difficult situation. Inwardly, patterns and tendencies, problematic states of mind, recognition of things that we are holding and clinging onto. And then we tell ourselves, because we've got the mantra of letting go in our mindset, oh, I should let go. I must let go. Unlikely. And that reaction in the language of letting go keeps us imprisoned to the situation. So to repeat a little bit, we explore, we practice, the clarity can come, and out of the clarity that comes, we let go. That letting go may be moving on from. That letting go may be the fading, the dropping away of the known, namely the problem, there's a certain abiding in the unknown, because we've made a space in our inner life. We've let go, we've dropped, we understand the importance of it, and we abide in the unknown till something fresh and new emerges in our life there. With the days with you, I'm going to take different aspects of letting go, of holding, clinging, and attachment too. Quite often, just a little bit again with the language here with you, there's a lot of emphasis in the kind of teachings and practices about attachment. Just to remember, in the tradition, Buddhist tradition, in the language of the Buddha, there, attachment means a holding and clinging onto which is problematic. It's different from the English language as used in therapy, psychology, social workers every day, where we say, oh, I have attachment to my children. I will say I have attachment to my daughter, my grandchildren, and so forth. In Dharma language, we wouldn't use the word attachment. We might use it in the West. We might use the word love, connection. So to be clear about and to distinguish between the two. In talking with you this morning, in this period of time, as I speak in the terms of the generality with you, sometimes it helps for the listener if there is a certain kind of specific reference point. So what I mean by that is, perhaps in your life currently there may be an issue which is unresolved. And one wishes to let go of it, to see through it, to move on from it in some way or other. So the specific makes the teaching, gives it more of a connection for you to what is being said. So as I mentioned, there could be a habit, a pattern, a tendency, an addiction, a reactivity, fear, stress, anxiety, and so forth. And in that, there is the wish to let go of it, to be free from it, humanly enough. So one of the first questions that we need to check in with oneself, what are the conditions which give it support? What are the conditions which give this issue, this problem, this unresolved support? What's feeding into it? It doesn't arise out of the blue. It arises because the conditions are there for it to arise. And meditation, mindfulness, reflection is to look at those conditions. Yes, some of those conditions may be occurring from the external circumstances, the presence or the absence of another, environmental circumstances, social circumstances, the impressions that come to us, as well as patterns and habits, images and impressions from our past. We cannot always change the external conditions. They may change or they may not. One thing is for sure. When there is a problematic issue and it involves the other could be individuals, it could be the job, could be the studies, it could be the politics, the environment. When we blame the other, when we keep finding fault with the other, with negativity and reaction, we haven't got a hope in hell of being free from it. So it's not just trying to be a non-judgmental person, though there is a virtue in it. It's just that the reactivity gets in the way of looking at the conditions clearly. Key word here is clearly. So yes, we consider the outer. What are the factors contributing to this? We can consider the inner. What are the conditions in my recent history, when you don't have to go to childhood, recent history, which is feeding into it? Being clear about those conditions with the fairly obvious, I would have thought, follow-up question to it: what needs to change? What will make a difference so that instead of reactivity to the present or from the past, what is a fresh way of looking at this? And that change and shift starts the journey. It might be slow, but it's worthwhile. Starts the journey to coming out of it. So you might be 100% correct in the view that what you perceive from outside of yourself is true. Might be 100% on. But the clarity rather than the reactivity, which is the practice, can I see the outer clearly there, will provide some space, will provide some receptivity, because that already is changing the condition. That in a way you are not projecting and transferring immense authority of the other over your life. That kind of space that comes makes us accessible to looking at situations in effective and valuable ways. So once again, in looking at the conditions there, the wish is to learn to see clearly both past, recent past, and present. The sense sometimes changes the feeling tone in the viewpoint. It may be, the feeling tone may be unsatisfactory, but nevertheless, it's different from the reactivity. And so we quietly keep with the core inquiry and question: what is a fresh way to look? And when that fresh way is emerging, do not expect it in an hour or a day. It can happen. When that fresh way of looking at emerging, it means the understanding from that is letting go of the old. The understanding of it is letting go of the old. Just finally, with the reflection, it does happen, to be fair. There's the drama of a situation, in the empowerment of the human being, sometimes without all that I just said. I use the analogy of the hot coal in the course description. You pick up touch a hot coal. You don't reflect, you don't meditate, you're not mindful of it, you're not inquiring into it. Boom, you let it go, just like that. And sometimes we see something so quickly and so immediately, there's a spontaneous, natural, organic letting go. Wonderful. One doesn't have to do all these practices. However, as we know, quite often what's required from us is some exploration there. If you find nothing much is changing, despite what I just said, you will need definitely to talk to someone or a group who you trust, who can give some responses, whose view you value, to help navigate a way of moving on from, which means letting go of, so there is inner peace, clarity, and an understanding that goes with it. And that option is vital to keep open. All right, enough. Let's just have a quiet minute or two, and then from this, I'll offer a guided meditation on the theme. First, a quiet minute or two. Okay. So, with the guided meditation, sitting, let me have a sip of the water of life. Sitting with the straight and upright posture. With the upright posture, there's some expansion in the chest and diaphragm area. If you're sitting in a chair like myself, feet firmly on the ground, there's plenty of energy. Eyes can be closed if you're feeling a little tired. Eyes half open or open. So we are just sitting. This is a guided meditation reflection. Full present to the whole of the body. So there's the vitality, the life, the vibrations, the whole sense of the whole body. A very useful resource to contribute to grounding and centering ourselves. And in the relationship to the body, there are a variety of issues that can arise. Health, sickness, pain, aging, appearance, size, weight, energy, gender, self-worth or lack of it, connection, reactivity. So we give bare attention to the most bare experience of the body. A body of elements. Earth element experienced as hardness or softness. Air element experienced as breath or wind in the body and more. Heat element as warmth or hot or cold. Water element as blood, as sweat, as saliva. Space element, the space in our ears to hear, eyes to see, the space in our nose to breathe and smell, the space in our mouth to taste. The spaces in the body, moving through the cells, to use the toilet, to defecate, to urine and more. So we sit. We witness this composition, an interaction of the elements, earth, air, heat, water, space, and consciousness, meaning being conscious of. We are making a simple connection, awareness of the bare experience of consciousness with this physical, organic, evolving, changing formation that we name the body. And sometimes the identification or the possession. I am sitting here, or my body. We are receptive to the changes, sensations, vibrations, comfort, discomfort, pleasure, pain, energy, and more. We recognize the acts of kindness, the acts of support and clarity for the welfare of the body. For the welfare of this expression of organic life. And we also need the clarity. What are the areas where reactivity comes? Is it in a time of sickness? Is it in a time of low energy? Is it in aging? Is it in our weight or size or gender or whatever? Where do we experience? When do we experience a reactivity? It might be stress, anxiety, fear. It might be sickness and pain. What are the areas where we're especially vulnerable to reactivity? It might be taking physical life for granted, such as health, beauty, fitness, and more. We're living then in an image of the body, not really connected with the bare unfolding manifestations of the sensations and the changes that are going on. So to repeat the inner inquiry, are there specific areas in relationship to the body which triggers much reactivity from you? in the Buddha's teachings, the word attachment, upadana, has a specific meaning. Attachment means to inflame a situation. The reactivity of the mind, of the feelings, emotions, perceptions, views, thoughts, habits, are inflaming, in this case, the situation of the physical actuality. Letting go means dissolving, seeing the fading of inflaming of a situation. So we can respond with clarity and wisdom to what the physical is presenting to us. The perception of unpleasant feelings around perhaps the condition of the body, long-standing or new, such feelings are healthy, normal, natural. When intensified due to past impressions, to what, so to speak, the body remembers, the confirmation is in the kind of thinking which is problematic, reactive, getting in the way of seeing clearly. This is why we keep coming back to the bare experience of the body, called mindfulness of breathing in and out, called the body scan, called being in touch with the elements, called just sitting, just walking, just standing, and being in touch with the postures. So we become deeply familiar with a non-reactive relationship. And in these moments of non-reactive relationship, we have let go of the reactivity, of the putting of wood on the fire, of inflaming a situation. So we are developing an authentic sense of harmony, of perception, experience with the body. A sense of well-being. And can work with the challenges of the physical, the sickness, the accident, the low energy, and more. Remaining minute or two. May all beings develop the practice of giving bare attention to the bare experience. May all beings respond wisely to what arises. May all beings abide in an integrated way. Good. Thank you for lending an ear. We have a few minutes. If there's any questions that you might like to ask or responses, please do. I'm not quite sure how to get to the chat column here.
Christopher, you just click on the bottom of the screen next to the people icon. You have
yes, all right.
Okay.
5-star. Thank you. Thank goodness you're around. Yes, I'll read. I'm so pleased you will talk about this because I know of my own reactivity, blame, externalizing, injustice, being like this, and it's very upsetting to do it. Hard to resist and stop it in time. Constriction is sometimes too subtle to pick up before a flash of reactivity jumps in. Really, really a fine point. So this coming back to moments, I mean, there's a bit of some sunlight in this is coming through. Let me just pull this over if I can. Ole. All right. So the Buddha said sometimes the reaction is so fast that he found it difficult to give a simile to describe the reaction. So sometimes we're more on the edge in an unsatisfactory way, and there's an immediate reaction. Still, however, our practice is to catch it as early as possible. Quite often, with the thought and the view, because it's habitual, the language we use to speak about somebody or speak about a political situation is very, very similar. It quite often goes with reaction. It's repetitive. So there might be a sudden, see what the repetition is, ask yourself, what is a fresh way to look? The first thought in your mind might be fine, but it may not be the one that's going to make the difference. And making the difference, one begins to feel the difference in a fresh, non-reactive view. And that's letting go of the old. To repeat, it's a practice. It's a lifelong practice, but it's a practice. Yes, anyone, please. One person sweetly put the light in the right place. Thank you. As a trauma survivor, I learned to disassociate very young to a lot of my practices on the cushion. It's just to tolerate being present, and fear arises rapidly. In daily life, I fear being overwhelmed by emotions when they come up. So I use food to soothe these feelings. This is really, really a common phenomena. So just to take a couple to the essential points there. One is fear and one is food, often having a relationship, as the person pointed out. In formal meditation, the sensations may arise. The sensation sometimes gives the viewpoint, the sensations arising is the fear, not necessarily. It's sensations arising. Fear is when, in this case, these sensations are bringing about a contraction around something. So human beings experience a variety of sensations. Some of them due to trauma, that means a sudden event in the past, or days, weeks, months, years of something going on, that it will leave an impression. The impression will, all too human, leave the fear. Some sensations arise, formal meditation or otherwise. Please try to remember the sensations is not the confirmation of the fear. They are sensations. One needs to name them as sensations. The fear is when the sensations meet with a contraction in the mind which stops you from doing something, holds you back, keeps you in the grip. So we give extra priority to the sensations. We might need again to share our experiences with the other. When there is something missing, a kind of feeling of emptiness, emptiness meaning something, a real lack within, the mind very easily moves to food and drink, to the mouth, to one sense door. Our practice is to expand the areas of nourishment. So therefore, what that means is nourishment. What nourishes you through your eyes? What nourishes you through your ears? What nourishes you through the smells? What nourishes you through touch? What nourishes you through being outdoors, through being indoors? What nourishes you with spirituality, religious intimacies, meditations, being with another or others? So one is reducing the dependency on one sense door called taste to fill the whole. Please explore all the senses and recognize what nourishes you, including the past. And through that nourishment will come naturally, therefore, through the practice, the dependency on what goes in the mouth will get less because it's coming to you in other ways. Daily practice, daily practice. I find it so interesting to look into. Oh, time has gone by. If any of you got to go look after kids, go to work, have breakfast, go to the chai shop, coffee shop, fly. Let's take another question. I found so interesting to look into the reactivity that makes it difficult to see clearly what is happening. I can see when I react to something, it's because I put things that are not there, intentions, ideas of how it should be, and I react to that. Very good insight, spot on. We look at something, and the reaction is often, not always, but often is to see something which actually isn't there, that the view becomes more significant than what is viewed. And if we catch ourselves adding more, how easy it is, we might interpret what somebody is saying or doing there. We think we know, we're adding to it. We're not actually taking the time to check, to ask, to find out. We might be right, but we might be wrong. But the view of the interpretation, we need, therefore, to keep in touch with our intentions as well. Intentionality is one of the central components in our makeup as human beings. What is the intention? So on that point and note, thank you also for the other lovely points. Thank you for giving me such good advice. Clear intention. Now I know what to do. All being well, we'll be on the button tomorrow morning. You are very, very welcome. Lots and lots of love, and explore the day. Thank you. Bye for now.